Hi guys, this is Abbas, and today we're going to continue reading Captain Underpants and the Wrath of the Wicked Wedgie Woman. As you might imagine, George and Harold were nervous about going back to class on Monday, but for some strange reason, Ms Ribble seemed happy to see them. "Good morning, boy," Ms Ribble chirped with a giant, evil, toothy grin. "Come here, I got something to show you." "Uh-oh," said George. "She's smiling. That could be a good sign." George held cautiously approached Miss Ribble's desk. "I took the liberty of dusting your grades last weekend," said Miss Ribble. "You'll be happy to know that all of your grades just dropped from B's and C's to F's and G's." "What?" "Oh, no!" George gasped. "Not F's and G's. Hey, what's a G?" "Yeah, what's a G?" It's only lower than F," said Miss Ribble. "There is no such thing as a G," said George. "There is now, Bob," said Miss Ribble. "Looks like you're both going to flunk the 4th grade. Won't that be fun?" "No way," said George. "That's not fair." "Life isn't fair," said Miss Ribble. "Get used to it." That afternoon, George and Harold sat in their chairs feeling sorry for themselves. "She can't get away with that," said George. "We got to tell somebody about this." "Nobody is going to believe us," said Harold. "Well, there is one thing we can do," said George. He opened the drawer to their drawing table and searched through the pennies, paper clips, dried spitballs, and rubber bands. Then he pulled out a dusty plastic ring with some gum stuck in it. It was the 3D Hypno Ring. If you don't know what the 3D Hypno Ring is, George and Harold used it to hypnotize Mr. Krupp into Captain Underpants in the first place. "Oh no," said Harold. "I thought you threw that thing away." "We just threw the instruction bases," said George. "But I remember how it works." "Do you remember what happened the last time we used it?" asked Harold. "Yeah," said George. "But we are fooling around last time. This time will be serious. We won't make any mistakes. All we have to do is hypnotize her into changing our grades back to normal. That's all." "I don't know," said Harold. It sounds like a bad idea to me. Worse than flunking the 4th grade?" George. "Good point," said Harold. Chapter 14, The Return of the 3D Hypno Ring. The next day at school, George and Harold stayed behind while the rest of the class went outside for recess. "What are you still doing here?" asked Miss Ribble. Said George nervously. We wanted to show you this really cool ring." "Yeah," said Harold. "If you look closely at it, you can see a funny picture." "Well, hold it still," said Miss Ribble as she stared at the ring immediately. "I have to move it back and forth," said George, "or you won't be able to see the picture." Miss Ribble's eyes followed the ring back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You're getting sleepy," said George. "Very sleepy," said Harold. Miss Ribble yawned. Her eyes began to droop. "I'm so sleepy," she said as she slowly closed her eyes. "In a moment," said George, "I will snap my fingers. Then you'll be hypnotized." "So sleepy," mumbled Isabel. "Now, said Harold, "you must listen very..." "We interrupt this chapter to bring... There's a important message. Hello, this is Chim Chim Diverment. This is Ingrid Ashley, reporting for Eyewitness News. We have a late-breaking story about a tragic incident that is now occurring in Pacific Northwest. Police have closed down the Little Wild Guy Novelty Company in Walla Walla, Washington. Apparently, this company has been selling very dangerous hypno rings. We now take you live via satellite to our reporter, Booger Stickers Larry Zarro, with the latest developments." "Thanks, Ginger," said Larry. "Reports are poured in all across the country concerning children who had used the 3D Hypno Ring on their friends and family with disastrous results. But the most shocking revelation is the effect that the ring seems to have on women. Apparently, whenever the ring is used to hypnotize a woman, a mental blunder occurs, causing the woman to do the opposite of what she is being hypnotized to do. Doctors don't know why the ring causes a woman to do the opposite reaction, but they're very concerned. If you or someone you love has purchased a 3D hypno ring, please throw it away at once. And whatever you do, please do not use it on a woman. And when we snap your fingers, George continued, you will change your grades back to normal. Yeah, said Earl. And you won't do anything crazy, like turn into a Wedgie woman. And you won't try to destroy Captain Underpants, said George, or take another wild actor. Right, said Harold. You'll just change your grades. That's it. George and Harold looked nervously at each other. Well, said George, I think that covers everything. Yep, said Harold. We shouldn't have any more problems for Ms Ribble. So I snapped her fingers. Chapter 15, Bad Hair Night. That night, George and Harold camped out in George's treehouse. I have to drive your mother to work early tomorrow morning, said George's dad. So you boys are responsible for getting yourselves to school on time. Okay, Pop, said George. We'll be there bright and early, Mr. Beard, said Harold. It had been a tough day for George and Harold, and now it was time to relax. George and Harold rolled out the sleeping bags while Harold unpacked a box of donuts, 4 cans of orange cream soda, and a big bowl of barbecue potato chips. Believe it or not, there was even a cool Japanese monster movie playing on TV. You know, said George, life doesn't get any better than this. Yep, said Harold. But do you think the ring actually worked on Ms Ribble? She looked a little weird when she came out of her trance. She was probably just sleepy, said George. Teachers have very stressful jobs, you know. I wonder why, asked Harold. After the movie, George and Harold brushed the crumbs out of their sleeping bags and got ready for bed. Let's sleep in our school clothes tonight, said George. That way we don't have to wake up early to get dressed. Good idea, said Harold. So George turned out the light, and soon the boys were drifting to sleep. After a few minutes, George and Harold sat up quickly and looked around. Hey, he whispered. What's that noise? I don't hear anything, said George. They listened closely. Shh, said Harold. There it is again. And Harold heard it this time. He reached the door over and opened the treehouse door a crack. They could hear the sound of the crickets chirping in the night. George Harold opened the door wider, peeked down. Oh! Roared an evil-looking woman dressed in a purple veil and a hanging-looking paper bow. George Harold screamed in horror at the snarling woman from the ladder into the treehouse. George Harold recognized her immediately in the moonlight. Ms Ribble? George gasped. What a lovely outfit you have on. Who's Ms Ribble? The angry lady growled. My name is Wedgie Woman. George and Harold looked at each other and swallowed. I understand you boys have information about Captain Underpants, said the Wedgie Woman. What makes you say that? Said Harold. I've read your comic books, said the evil villain. You boys know his strengths, his weaknesses, and I bet you even know his secret identity. No way, said George. Captain Underpants isn't real. He's just a cartoon. We'll see about that, Wedgie Woman scoffed. Wedgie Woman reached out and grasped George and Harold's arms. What do we do now? Cried Harold. We can't take her, said George. It's not like she has any superpowers or anything. The struggle that followed may someday be remembered as the single most unlucky thing that ever happened in the history of the world. First, George pulled his arm out of Wedgie Woman's grasp. Then Harold squirmed away too. When Wedgie Woman lunged after them, George crouched down into a ball behind Wedgie Woman's feet. It took was a simple nudge from Harold to send the ferocious female toppling over backwards. right into the wall. Clunk! The bookshelf caused Wedgie Woman's head to shook violently, causing a strange-looking juice carton to topple over. Suddenly, a stream of glowing green juice poured out of the carton directly into the woven beehive of the hair of Wedgie Woman's head. No! Yelled Harold as he grabbed the juice carton. This is the juice we got from the spaceship in our third book. You mean the one with the annoyingly long title? Said George. Yeah, said Harold. This is extra strength superpower juice. And the whole bunch of it got in her hair. Don't worry, said George. None of it got into her mouth. What's the worst thing that happened? Her hair talking of superpowers? Well, said Harold, I guess you're right. That is pretty weird. Even for one of our stories. It's pretty funny though, said George. Suddenly, two coil arms of twisting hair shot out of Wedgie Woman's head and grabbed George and Harold by the back of their underwear, yanking them high into the air. You know, said George, this isn't funny as it will be. Wedgie Woman brought George and Harold back into the house and tied up the boys tightly to two chairs. Tell me the secret identity of Captain Underpants, screamed Wedgie Woman. No way, said George. Said Wedgie Woman. You want to do this the hard way. No problem. Wedgie Woman's hair uncoiling itself. Several twisted locks of hair stretch out into the living room and start to take apart the television, the computer, and the Time Master. Other tangled coils reached into the kitchen and began demonstrating the dishwasher, the toaster oven, and the Roncho food dehydrator. What are you doing? Asked Harold. If you want to make robots, said Ms Ribble, you gotta break a few small appliances. George and Harold watched impatiently while Wedgie Woman's hair assembled thousands of assorted screws, bolts, wires, gears, capital tubes, and computer chips. Soon, two small robots began to take a chip. I don't know Ms Ribble was smart enough to make robots, said Harold. Me neither, said George. I think some of that extra strength superpower juice must have stuck into her brain. The next morning, Wedgie Woman completed her robot, which he named Robo George and the Harold 2000. You know, said George, something looks about these robots look a little familiar. Yeah, said George, they kind of look like us, only not as dashingly handsome. Wedgie Woman opened the robot's chest. Plates, inserted a can of spray starch into each one. Then she sealed the chest plates, patted each robot on the hand, and sent them off to school. Captain Underpants doesn't stand a chance now, Wedgie Woman laughed. Wait a minute, said Harold. How are those two robots going to stop Captain Underpants? All they have to do is wait and listen, said Wedgie Woman. As soon as they hear the word tra-la-la, it will all be over. What will happen next in Captain Underpants and the Wrath of the Wicked Wedgie Woman? Find out in the next video of this reading.